Feelings. What are they? They incite and provoke something inside us that eventually leads us to knowledge. A knowledge to be spread and to teach. You perceive things and you think, why? But it is much better to dream about things that never happened and think, why not? For that reason, we must share what we learn in life. Because sharing knowledge is much more important than the mere fact of having acquired it. You have cancer. No one can imagine how that person feels when listening to this news. Fear grips you, and suddenly flames erupt inside you. You feel like you're constantly swimming against the current, and that glowing fear appears again and again, leaving your trust in the hands of medical care.
Lo llaman ya la zona cero de Bali. Hoy desde el aire se ve con total nitidez cómo quedó el área de Kuta, donde el sábado por la noche explotó un coche bomba. Edificios totalmente pulverizados. La violencia de la explosión junto con la fragilidad de las edificaciones convirtieron esta zona de diversión en un paisaje de guerra. Las imágenes que acaban de ver y las que van a ver ahora las grabaron un grupo de 5 jóvenes gallegos. Pasaban 15 días de vacaciones en Bali practicando su deporte favorito, el surf. El atentado se produjo la última noche que pasaban en la ciudad de Kuta. Tenían pensado ir a la discoteca, pero la cena duró más de lo que pensaban y la explosión les pilló en un restaurante a solo 100 metros. A partir de ese momento emprendieron una desesperada huida intentando ponerse a salvo.
Una explosión brutal, seca. En ese momento se apagó la luz y empezó el caos. Al ver la magnitud de lo que había ocurrido, lo que me vino a la cabeza fue el pensar que no estuvimos allí por 5 minutos.
In life, things don't happen by chance. Everything has a reason. Everything makes sense. This is life. Uniportal Vats.
Todo esto ha comenzado hace 2 años de un tumor biliar que he tenido y me operaron del páncreas. Me sacaron el páncreas entero, parte del estómago, intestino, y a raíz de me dieron quimio, 6 meses, y después pues me hacían TAS cada 3 meses. Y entonces han visto ahí una mancha en el pulmón que de principio no era nada, pero a raíz de todo el año ha ido creciendo y entonces se detectó un tumor en el mes de julio.
Yo en el momento que le han diagnosticado eso a mi marido, pues la verdad que fue un mazazo. Es que él es más fuerte que yo, más positivo que yo, incluso había veces que me daba ánimos a mí, pero bueno, yo de todas formas cuando nos lo dijeron digo es que entre los dos tenemos que luchar y salir adelante.
Cada 3 meses me hacían los TAS y había ahí una mancha, pero claro, la mancha no le dieron importancia. Hasta en el transcurso de un año fue creciendo y ahora es un nódulo y por eso decidieron los oncólogos operar.
Muchas veces he dicho ¿por qué a nosotros? Pero bueno, es así y lo tienes que asumir porque no te queda de otra.
Bueno, hombre, un poquito de disgusto, pero sí, lo llevo bien porque yo me animo mucho.
Hay veces que piensas que no puedes conseguir superar esto.
Bueno, pues por mediación de una prima de la mujer, pues se había operado aquí hace un año con el doctor Diego, entonces nos animamos a venir aquí a una segunda opinión y ya nos convenció para que nos operara él. Y nos quedamos aquí con él ya, para operar.
Pues hasta donde haya que llegar, hasta el final. Esto tenemos que luchar y para poder seguir adelante. Y bueno, pues yo, para mí es todo. Él para mí es todo.
When I was a resident of thoracic surgery and when I finished my residency, one of the things that impressed me more was to see the postoperative course of the patients after a thoracotomy. It was very painful. So I decided to learn the minimal invasive techniques. And in the year 2006, I went to visit Rob McKenna to California, LA, who was the surgeon with the biggest experience in thoracoscopic approach. He used several incisions, 3 and 4 ports, small incisions, to operate lung cancer. So I was there for a period of time. I was impressed by the technique and I realized that I had to learn that technique. So I went back to Spain in 2007 and we started to perform the minimal invasive techniques by using 3 and 4 ports. After about 100 cases with this technique, we were getting experience more and more. And after having about 90 to 100 cases, I decided to improve my technique with the 3-port technique, with the minimal invasive approach. So I decided to go to New York, to the Memorial Sloan Kettering Center. So when I was there, by chance, it was like a casualty. I met a resident from Duke University, and that resident told me that they were using, in their hospital, they were using the minimal invasive technique, but by using only 2 ports. So at the beginning I was shocked, but how is it possible to perform the minimal invasive approach, to operate lung cancer by using only 2 ports? I had learned that 3 incisions were needed, and it was impossible at that time to change my mind, to think that only 2 incisions were possible. So I asked her to write, to make a drawing about that incisions, and she made a drawing showing the 2 ports. So that paper, that picture, changed my way of life, my thinking. When I went back to Spain, I was thinking about that technique, because if with only 2 ports was enough to perform the lobectomy, the surgery, I had to adopt that technique because it was less invasive than 3 ports. I needed to learn that. So I contacted the chief surgeon of Duke, Dr. D'Amico, and I decided to visit him. And I was impressed by him, by his technique, and by using only 2 ports was enough. So I learned the technique there with him, and then went back to Spain and we started to perform the 2-port technique. So we changed our approach from 3 ports to 2 ports. And we saw that it was feasible and possible, and all the cases were possible to be performed by using only 2 ports. So we were very happy with this approach, we were very confident, and after a period of several months doing the same technique with 2 ports, I noted that something was strange with the view, because the camera was coming from the inferior port and we were using the utility incision for the instrumentation from another direction. So I thought, why don't use the camera with the same direction as the instrument? So why don't you put the camera through the same hole, so we will have the same view as we have with open surgery? It will be a more anatomic approach.
Bueno, este paciente se va a someter a una cirugía mini-invasiva por un solo puerto y lo que se le va a hacer es una lobectomía, se le va a quitar un lóbulo del pulmón. Bien, desde el punto de vista anestésico, la única variación con las intervenciones tradicionales es que es un paciente que se va a realizar con una sedación profunda. En vez de ponerle un tubo de doble luz, un tubo endobronquial, se va únicamente a colocar un dispositivo supraglótico. El paciente va a estar ventilando espontáneamente. Por otra parte, para que esto sea tolerable y se pueda hacer bajo esa sedación, hay que hacer simultáneamente un bloqueo locorregional de la zona a intervenir.
The main difference between 3 ports, 2 ports and 1 port, I think the main difference is the instrumentation for the surgeon. So it's not just to be 1 or 2 ports less. It's because with one single port and with the camera and the instruments with the same direction, we have a more anatomic view and we have a better instrumentation if you learn the technique, if you are coordinated with your assistant. Probably that the differences of pain between 3 ports, 2 ports and 1 port are not huge. Of course, if you are using only 1 port, you open only one intercostal space, so the probability of pain is less than with 2 and with 3 ports. And there is another advantage of the uniportal approach is that we don't use trocar, and if you don't use trocar, we compress less the intercostal space, because the instrumentation sometimes with the camera we can compress because of the trocar the intercostal space. Even using a very, very small incision, the compression with the trocar can be higher than with the uniportal approach. With a nodule in the lower lobe, the biopsy is adenocarcinoma, probably primary. We can create a new technique and we can make a revolution in surgery all over the world. So it's quite interesting if you analyze this, how can this happen, right? But I think that if you have a good idea and you believe in that idea, if you are persistent about what you believe and about what is the trend of the future, and especially if you are convinced about your thoughts, you can create something big and something important. Now we are retracting the lobe. After having experience and learning all the tricks, we have shown that we have no limits with this technique and we can approach all the cases, even the most complex resections we can approach with the uniportal technique. But the most important thing is that thanks, in my opinion, is that thanks to the geometrical aspect of the technique and thanks of the sagittal plane in where you are working with this technique, there are no limits for this technique. Italians. This is a new applier with curve of the Glenna clip. You can see with curve. And another very important thing is that you have to work with a team. You know, this is not something individual. Maybe you can be the leader of a team, but you have to work with a team in a coordination, because I have learned that in life, if you work with company, you will get further. If you work alone, you will get faster, probably. I think this is the key of the success. Work with a team, work in company, then everything could be possible. Study? Okay, no problem.
No hables de tu conclusión, de la conclusión un poco precisamente. Vamos respirando profundo, que lo olvides. No es tiempo.
Estamos ahora en la unidad de cuidados posoperatorios y el paciente en este momento hace 3 minutos que acaba de salir del quirófano y le podemos preguntar a él qué tal está. Ramón, ¿qué tal te encuentras? ¿Qué tal dormiste? Bien. Abre la boquita, echa la lengua. Perfecto, ya está, muy bien. Bueno, el paciente está perfectamente orientado, está bien analgesiado, responde coherentemente a todas las preguntas que se le hace y por lo tanto va a estar aquí pues un par de horas antes de subirlo a la planta.
One of the impressive things of these techniques, not only the uniportal, the minimal invasive techniques, but I think that with the uniportal even more, is the the recovery of the patient after the surgery. The patient can go home after the second or third postoperative day. Even we have discharged patients home on the first postoperative day after a lobectomy.
Ramón, ¿cómo estás?
Yo al principio pues tenía un poco de miedo, porque digo, nada más el mismo día subirla a la habitación, pues yo digo, madre mía, tiene nada puesto, digo, pues yo qué sé, si esa noche no dormí nada. Pero bueno, luego viendo cómo fue el servicio y digo, ¿te puedes levantar? Dice, sí, y vi que iba bien, yo la acompañé, claro, pero la verdad pues que ya me tranquilicé un poco.
Me creía que iba a ser peor, pero no me he enterado prácticamente de nada. Sí, es que eso solo lo sabe el que lo vive, porque parece increíble.
Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Qué tal, Ramón? ¿Cómo está?
Bien, estamos bien.
¿Qué tal de dolor?
Bien.
¿Bien?
Sí.
¿Tú pasó buena noche?
Sí, pasé
¿Pudo
mucho
dormir?
rato. Sí.
¿Y qué tal respira?
También bastante.
¿Respira normal? Vamos a ver cómo respira. Coja aire. ¿Qué la impresión de la cirugía, qué le parece este tipo de cirugía tan poquito agresiva?
Me ha encantado. Yo
Total.
no me lo creía hasta que te pasa.
Totalmente diferente, ¿no? De lo que es la otra operación que ha tenido.
Sí.
Claro. Bueno, pues nada, es...
Una maravilla esto.
Claro, lo que tiene la ventaja es eso, que se despierta muy rápido y que no tienen prácticamente nada de dolor. La incomodidad de estar operado, pero bueno, y la recuperación es muy rápida.
One of the potential advantages of this approach could be a less post-operative pain, because only one intercostal space is involved instead of 3, as in the conventional 3-port approach. Evolution and innovation is here. Uniportal VATs in patients without having to intubate, breathing without the help of mechanical ventilation.
The interest of the uniportal during the last 4 years is growing. I'm really impressed about this development because this is a very new technique. We developed the technique in June 2010. We performed the first case. So in a period of only 4 years and a half, we have seen that the spreading of the technique all over the world and the adoption of the technique in many countries is growing year by year.
Welcome to this CTSNet interview with great innovators in thoracic surgery. My name's Joel Dunning, and I'm here at EACTS in Vienna with Diego Gonzalez Rivas.
These instruments helps a lot, and the most important is that during the learning curve, you learn how don't fight with your partners. Because at the beginning, if you are using conventional instruments and you open the conventional instruments through the incision, you are fighting because you have not enough space. But here, through a small hole, you can use 3, 4, even 5 instruments, and you don't fight. So it's very important to learn the technique with the optimal instruments.
For me, single pore VATS is more than a surgical procedure. It's a philosophy, because it's a way to open your mind, to break routines, and to change thoracic surgeons' mind. You know, this is a new way we are opening, and I'm sure, like it happens with the non-intubated cases, that a lot of things is going to change in a small lapse of time.
Like thoracic surgeon, I use single pore for major resections. I feel very comfortable with this approach. This is a revolutionary technique for operate lung tumors.
Sí, pues ya acabó todo, pasó la operación y los días del hospital fueron muy buenos. Sin dolor, y estuve bien y ahora pues me encuentro muy bien. Está todo perfecto ya y muy contento con haberlo hecho.
Pues la verdad que su evolución ha sido muy buena y ver que en 3 días ya estaba en casa, pues al tercer día que nos fuimos antes de comer y llegamos a casa, comimos y a las 6 de la tarde nos fuimos a dar un paseo que anduvimos 1 kilómetro al tercer día de operarle. Digo, yo es que alucinaba, digo, pero no te cansas, no te encuentras cansado. Y dice, no, voy bien. Y bueno, despacito, pero muy bien.
Hombre, pues yo a una persona que tuviera lo mismo que yo le recomendaría que fuera a ver a Diego, porque yo fui para una segunda opinión y ya me he quedado con él. Y está en contacto contigo continuamente y eso pues es una confianza muy grande y es un equipo muy bueno. En la técnica esta, que es una técnica muy positiva, que no sufres nada, apenas notas nada después de la intervención y ellos tienen una relación contigo como si fuera de un amigo, no de paciente, continuamente.
The worldwide expansion of this technique begins. From La Coruña, a small city in northwest Spain, a group of surgeons have just revolutionized thoracic surgery. This is a historical landmark in world medicine. Surgeons all around the world are fascinated by this innovative technique.
Была открыта операция. Сегодня, чтобы спасти жизненно важный орган, требуется всего
到医院讲座并进行现场手术演示。在胶东地区，虽然市立医院开展胸外科生，
con la cámara tú puedes acceder a, digamos, a zonas del tórax que por vía abierta te quedan mucho más difíciles.
Пульмонологии продемонстрировали новую технологию лечения и профилактики онкозаболеваний. Показательную операцию провел врач из Испании Диего Gonzalez Rivas. Пациенту удалили часть легкого с помощью ультразвуковых инструментов и
Уникален метод за отстраняване на карцином на белия дроб показва в Пловдив испанският лекар доктор Diego Gonzalez.
España está en la vanguardia de la medicina. Hoy 3 cirujanos gallegos nos han mostrado una técnica pionera para operar el cáncer de pulmón. Lo hacen con la laparoscopia, con una sola incisión y son los únicos en lograrlo en todo el mundo. El paciente sufre menos y su recuperación es mucho más rápida.
In my opinion, the development of the Uniportal during the last 4 years is huge compared with the development of the VATS, the conventional VATS, in 20 years, from 1992 to date. I think that we are living a new revolution of surgery, especially because it's a feasible technique. Everybody can learn this technique. I'm very happy and we are very proud that many countries are adopting this technique especially in Asia, in where the development and the adoption is very, very important, in China, Korea, Taiwan, Philippines. So I think that is growing and growing. This is because the technique is not limited by the approach, and every case can be performed by the single port technique.
A new task now begins: to teach how to operate with this new uniportal VATS technique on a global scale. Throughout history, when a new medical breakthrough appears, one of the most important features of this science comes to light: to share, teach, and spread that knowledge. It's a massive responsibility to have in your hands the capacity to perform the operation in a way that uses the least invasive method for the patient, allowing for the minimum suffering possible and thus an extremely fast recovery. It's up to him that other thoracic surgeons adopt this new technique. Now is when we look back and remember that terrorist attack in Bali in 2002. We've arrived in China, 1,400 million people, a pollution level that means the incidence of lung cancer is shooting through the roof. Tomorrow, we will be operating in one of the largest hospitals in the world, Shanghai Pulmonary Hospital. More than 6,000 major resections per year.
Welcome to the Uniportal VATS training program at Shanghai Pulmonary Hospital. I'm here teaching surgeons from around the world in this hospital. 11 ORs working every day. This year, more than 6,000 major resections in this hospital, the biggest thoracoscopic training program in the world. It's okay? Okay. I think it's okay, yeah? Once you create a technique, it's not enough to, okay, I created a technique and let's do, others develop. No, you have to create a technique, but you have to continue. You have to continue improving and improving more and even more and even more, and adapting the technique to more difficult cases, or trying to teach the technique, which is probably the most challenging part of this trip. Is not just to create a technique. The most important thing is to make the technique feasible, adaptable to other surgeons. So you have to teach the technique, you have to travel, you have to fly to other countries and then teach the technique there. lower low and upper low. You grab it, both. And from the high loop, you see the bifurcation of the veins. Okay? Upper vein and lower vein. It's a lymph node here over the artery here. Difficult. Okay, give me one Chang. Chang to open. Yeah.
I think one of the main advantages of the uniportal VATS approach is that easy to learn. In fact, many surgeons that have been here in our training, when they come back to their countries, have started performing uniportal VATS approach. It's very easy for them to pass from the open conventional surgery to the uniportal VATS.
It's very exciting technique, and you have to learn it.
I think Diego Gonzalez Rivas, not only because of his skills, but because of his work ethic and his aim to share his knowledge, is going to be considered in the future one of the great pioneers of thoracic surgery.
The team Diego Gonzalez is the top of the team in the world at this moment and developed the new concept in only uniportal lobectomy.
A pioneer, you know, a guy who came here to change the way things are done in thoracic surgery.
从上面过去，我不知道是总干还是右肺上叶的这个。这个呢比较都熟练，因为各种技巧都掌握。We can put the track here and then divide this, okay? Yes. Or even here, yeah? Yeah. Even it's better, yeah? Have to be sure this branch goes to the upper lobe. Okay. Go to see. Go. It goes to the upper, yeah?
Good morning. We are in China at the Shanghai Pulmonary Hospital. This is the training program, which the director is Diego Gonzalez Rivas. We are in the life surgery, and they are doing an upper lobectomy. And as you can see here, this is very important because many people are watching the operations. Right now, 4 operating rooms at the same time, as you can see here. And it will be 2 lobectomies, 1 segmentectomy, and 1 lobectomy through the xiphoid.
This is a very attractive approach, saving patients from unnecessary pain, and the course was organized perfectly.
It probably is going to change my life regarding use robotic surgery. Robotic is too expensive, and I can do it the same with the uniportal VATS.
It was the first time we and our team that has done a uniportal lobectomy, and with success, although we have even a small hemorrhage. That means that Dr. Diego Gonzalez explained us very clearly what we have to do.
Has been a very tremendous experience, because we have been in operation room for more or less 3 or 4 surgery every day. And Dr. Diego has been a tremendous professor for me and for the other surgeons that are here in this program.
One of the main things we've learnt today is the fact that it can be done. I'm looking at a room here of 10 operating suites where there have been 10 operations done already this morning, all through the uniportal technique. So the first thing we've learned is that it is possible.
Right now, China is one of the countries where the most interest is being generated by the emergence of this new technique to operate on lung cancer. During the weekend, we were invited to teach the technique of uniportal VATS in Weihai City in the Shandong province, more than 1,200 kilometers from Shanghai. China is so big that for us, Weihai would be a huge city, but for them, it is only a small town of only 5 million people. Shanghai has 30 million people. Weihai is a port city that has an important fishing fleet that fishes all along the 1,000 kilometers of its coast. We were really very impressed by our visit to the hospital in Weihai, especially by the extremely high level of their medical team. The interest shown in this technique and its ability to learn quickly mean that uniportal VATs may be used to operate on lung cancer right now in this hospital. The goal is very clear. The patient suffers less.
Okay. You came from 300 kilometers to see the operation. Good. Sunday, but Sunday is better to have a rest.
Nice to meet you. Okay.
Not to be here. Okay, so it's a pleasure. Easy to handle. When you use all the scopes, you have the plastic, the lateral light, move. It's more difficult. With this, it's simple. Look, simple. More space here to work, and high definition. Two. Now we're just to see this. Go.
The first time I read this paper, I thought that it was impossible. In 2006, when I read this paper, how we learned the technique and we started to improve, doing more and more complex procedures. And we are able now to perform these cases by using only 3 ports, by using only 1 port. So the most important thing is to control the artery at the beginning, clamp the main pulmonary artery with a clamp the distal artery with a bulldog clamp, and then cut the bronchus. So here even we can use a stapler to divide this branch, and here we can see the involvement of the artery. Here.
Hello, I'm Timothy Yang, a surgeon from Thoracic Surgery, Shanghai Pulmonary Hospital. Welcome to Shanghai. I'm here with Diego Rivas, a leading surgeon all the world in thoracic surgery. I met him several years ago in a high-peak conference, and he taught me a lot, and now we are good friends. So we invited him to China to teach all surgeons from all the world the uniportal technique.
I'm here in Shanghai, at Shanghai Pulmonary Hospital, teaching surgeons from around the world during the uniportal VATS training program. Timmy helps me every time I come here. He organizes everything perfectly. He is my support, he is my friend here. And since we met several years ago, we established a very good friendship. And now we work together.
This is our last night in Shanghai. China never fails to impress. The generosity of its people, their hospitality and willingness towards us. Tomorrow, we will fly to another culture. Abu Dhabi is the second most populous city in the United Arab Emirates and possesses 9% of all oil reserves in the world. Trade and services, including tourism, dominate its current economy. Islam is the official religion of the country and has a constant influence and impact on the daily life of its inhabitants.
After our experience with the uniportal VATS training program in Shanghai, we are now here in Abu Dhabi to teach the uniportal VATS technique.
Currently, in the Arab world, they are trying to recruit the best professionals around the world to provide specialized assistance. They have no objection to provide all the necessary means for change if they receive good quality results. Today we will help with our technical quality to improve their healthcare. All the medical centres and other hospitals or clinics are very important due to their characteristics, having the best and most modern equipment for diagnosis and treatment of all types of diseases.
Hi, I'm Amgad Sharif. I'm the Chief of Thoracic Surgery at Tawam Hospital in Abu Dhabi, UAE. We're very delighted that we have our first Uniportal course this November with Dr. Diego Gonzalez from Spain. We were lucky to start the minimally invasive techniques here for thoracic surgery 4 or 5 years ago with the first lobectomy done. But this is our first Uniportal course, and we're very excited to learn this technique because it makes it makes it much easier for the ports when you're going in the same direction, and you can easily get the mass and the staples go into the same direction. So we'd like to adopt this technique, and we're very excited to have this here.
Medicine and science in general serve, among other things, to unite diverse peoples and cultures. When we travel and get to know the essence of different people, we realize that we are all equal. With disease like cancer, it is vital that we walk together.
Well, performing surgery in Abu Dhabi, it has been a very, very nice experience. It was for me impressive to see how people keep their religion beliefs even into the OR, like the nurses keeping the head covered because of the religion. So it was quite impressive to see many cultures, different cultures, completely different to our culture, and to share experience with them, to speak about the concept of religion, the concept of surgery, of work job. It was really, really impressive, very interesting for me. It enriched me a lot, and I have learned many things about this. Everyone can learn from different cultures, and you have to be open-minded to understand them and to think about in a different way, not just as you think. When you travel to another culture, to other place completely different than your country, everything is completely different, and you have to be with open mind.
A few years ago, foreigners only knew about Moscow and St. Petersburg. However, Kazan is one of the largest financial, commercial, industrial and tourist centers in Russia, and is the economic capital of the Volga region. Two ethnic groups live in Kazan: the Slav-speaking Russians, who have a Christian heritage, and Tatars, who have the Turkish language and Muslim heritage. The two groups coexist peacefully, and 1/3 of marriages are mixed. The health system is financed by the state, and the government is trying to raise the level of the medical health service and make it more technological. This is the main reason why we are here today.
В медицине российские хирурги проводят операции на легких по уникальной методике, когда пациент бодрствует и продолжает самостоятельно дышать. Она разработана специально.
Это малоинвазивная хирургия. Сначала вводится видеокамера, хирург следит за всем на экране монитора, а затем инструменты. Испанский врач Диего Ривас подробно рассказывает о ходе операции. Все манипуляции делаются на работающем легком, то есть человек дышит самостоятельно. В этом и заключается основная сложность.
Surgeons from Papworth Hospital near Cambridge will be passing on their expertise to colleagues around the globe next week. They've pioneered technology to reduce the amount of surgery needed for lung conditions, an alternative to open chest surgery.
Cambridge is 50 miles from London. Its fame is due to the University of Cambridge, which also includes the Cavendish laboratories and teaching hospitals.
For you, and I hope you will enjoy the team of partners will work very hard for days. It's been here and in some are in institutions, and that's going to be history.
Entering Cambridge reminds us nostalgically of our student years and all the events surrounding our university experience.
We have traveled all over the world teaching the technique to other surgeons. And most important, seeing that after a period of time, they adopted the technique and they learned the technique. So now with the new technique, new complement we have introduced, like the single port combined with the non-intubation, we have teached this technique even in several countries. And in fact, we have performed the first non-intubated lobectomy in United Kingdom, the first non-intubated lobectomy in Poland, the first non-intubated lobectomy in Russia, the first non-intubated lobectomy in Spain, in Colombia. So in different countries, we are not teaching just the single port approach. We are teaching the single port approach, and we can even teach the anesthetist there.
I don't use one over the same thing.
Any questions?
Today has been a special day here in Cambridge. We have performed the first non-intubated single port VATS lobectomy in the United Kingdom. It has been probably the less invasive lobectomy for lung cancer performed in this country.
When you spend so much time away from home, the operating rooms and hotels become your new home, and the medical personnel turn into your family. Going from country to country, you sometimes feel lonely, but nighttime strolls around the streets help you to relax and take some of the stress off. But just in those moments in which you find you are low, life gives you nice surprises. Here in Cambridge, we found a group of young Spanish nurses who were looking for work in this city. They had come to look for work and they had heard of uniportal VATS technique. Suddenly, you are not alone. The Nazi occupation and terror imposed on Poland, first by the Germans and then by the Soviets in World War II, with the death of more than 6 million Polish citizens in this war, did not prevent Poland retaining much of its cultural wealth and achieve high human values. Poland represents the largest research and development region in Central and Eastern Europe. Universal coverage is a feature of the Polish healthcare system. However, it is not compulsory to be treated in a state hospital, as the country has many private institutions offering health services. Poland was home to some of the most prominent researchers in various scientific fields. Marie Curie or Copernicus are listed in a large group of universally renowned scientists.
We are really excited. For the first time in Poland, we did 2 cases of non-intubated single-port VATS. As part of Diego's team, my role as anesthesiologist is try to optimize the results for the patients performed single-port VATS. As surgery is going each time less and less and less aggressive, I think anesthesia has to go in the same way.
Who knows what will be the future of the thoracic surgery, but definitely the future will be in the less invasive approach possible. Everything what we have achieved in the last years with this technique, after a hard work, was not free. You need to stop a lot of activities. So you cannot go surfing as usually. You cannot, spend, the same time with your friends. You sacrifice a lot of things, your personal life. But I think that this is a price you need to pay for this achievement.
Has no limits now. I can imagine the limits. Single port VATS is more than a simple new surgical procedure. It's a mind opener.
Sometimes I think that, maybe I'm losing time. I'm losing my life. My life is passing too fast in front of me, and I'm losing the best moments in my life, because this is a life of airport, long trip, hospital, operation, hotel, next day talk, conference, airport again, other city, surgery, hotel, airport. So sometimes if I think that if I'm losing my life doing this, but the most important is that I enjoy what I do. So I think the most important is to do it something which you really enjoy and you really like it. And I love my job. My job has become the main part of my life, and I love do it. So if you love do it something, it's not a sacrifice for you.
Dedicated to all the people that are fighting each and every day, and also to those that are always there, the carers.